a post-high school visit autoresponder. And this one is specifically that we're going to work on is going to be sending to the organization contact. But again, you could do anything of a nice personalized responder to the people who showed up. It's a little more interesting if it's like a vendor who's going to send things to you later. And depending on when that actually gets through and when that catches and gets properly assigned to the event, you might want to write some kind of filters. It's not like 4 months later that, oh yeah, the data came over and didn't map, and then someone troubleshoot it 4 months later to fix it, and then all of a sudden your college fair kids are getting a random thanks. It was great seeing you last weekend email. So there is some nuance going with that, but yeah, so this is a post-high school visit autoresponder. We're just going to be sending this to an org contact. I'm going to add like 2 layers to make sure like like the wrong org contact isn't being added, or like an org contact for a different organization is being added, or if the organization that was originally added to the event was incorrect, you're not sending it essentially with the wrong data kind of being piped into your email. So, and then I don't necessarily need to go through that now. We can just do that later. So I'm just going to do CJ org contact to get counselors. And however you have your org contacts set up, or if you have a separate data set that kind of necessarily focuses on these pieces here, you can. So we're just going to choose our org contacts. And we're doing org contacts because I mean, there's probably something to be said that you could do it off of the event itself, but I just found this, I think, a little bit more intuitive and a little bit easier to do. So we are going to do a couple of joins here. We're doing down here in the join area first. So we're going to do a form by related record and a form by location record. So actually, let's just join the organizations first. So this is going to be the organization that the org contact is associated with. Orgs, for folks who might be a little bit newer to Slate or not on this side of it, the organizations is essentially your school data set that is ideally when you're doing an event at a school, like a high school visit, college fair, whatever it is, it's being tied to an organization. That way you can have like a nice dashboard knowing how many times you visited an organization, or like event travel, especially if you're doing like a quorum score or something like that. That's really nice, helpful context to have. But yeah, best practice, tie your events to an organization or location as is possible. And if you have like old organizations, update your organizations. I feel like there was just a conversation about that happening recently on the Facebook page about the College Board, or is that free versus updated and all those things. But so now we're going to do another join here, and we're just going to do form by related record. And I haven't done, like, I did this like 6 months ago. Yeah, 5 months ago, 6 months ago. So let's see how much of this I remember off the top of my head here. So we're going to just join form related record. Yeah, so it's org contact here, and it's location for the organization, I believe. Oh man, I probably should have like definitely refreshed myself on this. So we're gonna do that, and we do want the most recent. So we're just going to sort by the start date time, and we're gonna change that to descending. And the date time just formats itself nicely. So even if you have 2 events on the same day for some reason, not for this project probably, but it's something else, that'll work correctly. And we're gonna save. Now, if for some reason someone put the wrong related record, or someone put like maybe this person worked at 2 different schools, and like, oh, I just clicked the first one I saw, and all of a sudden it's got like the other person's like old school as I touch my microphone twice. Uh, just there's a lot of issues that I think that can come up. So we want to make sure that it's the right related record at the right organization that are both being like for that event. So we're going to do another join here. And this one will just be form by location record. And we can do our join. And then, yeah, this is where we're going to be joining from the organizations. And then we can just make our base that. And maybe we want our template to be high school. So many templates. If only. What is it? What do they call this? School visits. Okay. If only they had my third project up tonight, which was a way to streamline our templates and folders with related records to categorize schools and template communication details. So we only want this for like old events. So we can just do a start date is less than today. But maybe you probably don't want this to be, you only want this email to start going out to like recent schools because you don't want it to be like sending a 3-year-old email. So maybe we're just going to do greater than or equal to, let's see, 4/26. Because maybe only last 5 days or so we've been doing this. So we're going to do that. And then we're also going to just grab the user of that form by location record. And this assumes that whoever's doing the recruitment travel is just the user one of your event. If that's not the case, you could do related records, you could do user two, however you're kind of like associating your staff to an event, which again, I would recommend that there is some kind of association there. I mean, you could do like, have the like territory staff assigned through translation codes. You could do it like that as well to kind of get an idea of like who would be associated with that event under the current rules. But yeah, I think you would definitely want to associate your events to your staff in some capacity. I feel like it just seems like that would be best practice. But I'm like, I don't know. Is there a time in which you wouldn't necessarily want that? I think so. And we're also just gonna like make these filters obvious up here too, because we only want events that are going to be following into our kind of established criteria. So we'll just do a school visit again. Do I not have, I probably don't have someone in this yet, do I? I think I did this beforehand. Leonard Aidtab. So pitch for my Inside the Funnel sports show that I do now with Ledger-born analyst Leonard Aidtab. Check out the Innovation Forge podcast on YouTube. It's ridiculous, but it's fun. So now that should probably pop somebody up. Oh, it doesn't. Did I not? Yeah. Or Slate University. Oh, is this not at Slate University? It's not. This was just a random event that was in Clean Slate. So what do I get for doing like half the prep work of these live trainings that I'm doing? No, I don't want to save that address. Okay, now that's still not pulling up anybody. Interesting. Yeah, here's my org contact, part of Slate University. Oh, probably because this is too new. Oh no. Oh yeah. Let's do 424. And pop that in time also to 424. So now let's meeting those criteria. Okay, there we go. I mean, that is duplicative to have it in both sections here because we're already writing filters off here off of that form by location. So the other filters are essentially being inherited, but so we're not going to spend more time on that right now. But maybe we only want to email this to active org contacts. And then if I think that there's definitely something to be said if like they don't have a name, I think, and if they don't have a name, they're probably not getting added as an org contact, but so we're just going to do a name for our org contact. It'd be like, just do name, or we do first name, and just do first name though. Because again, we're going to assume that, oh, is there no, does Leonard have a first name? Is it just going to be name? It probably is just going to be name. Because I probably didn't actually add to the form to create the record first name. Yeah. And then same thing, definitely need like an email to exist. So I'm just going to make a copy of this. I don't remember if I gave him an email address though, so that might also pop him out of being eligible. Oh no, he has an email. I might not have just piped that into the record. I might have created a field for it. But like generally speaking, it's nice to have like a name in email, because if it doesn't have like an email, it's just going to skip the send, which I don't know if that affects deliverability or not. Like that's just such a vague thing. So when we do our post high school visit autoresponder, we definitely want it to have some flavor from the counselor themselves. So maybe like the introductory paragraph is a content block, and that gives them to kind of have their own little custom introduction that establishes their voice, their tone, their relationship. And you could also add some of the stuff to the actual org contact as well. Like, hey, it was great talking to you about your new home. Or, I mean, you can really get really granular with how you're building these kinds of relationship emails. But I think at least having like a in counselor voice intro paragraph, I think would be really important. I don't think we're gonna like go through. I think I didn't pull up content blocks to like make the content blocks, but we'll just kind of do a content block for the folks who don't know about him. Is essentially like a library of content that you're building. And that will be a Gilded Build, is all about content blocks and translation codes, but I need to work on that. Should work on streamlining my names a little bit. I'm not usually a big deal because I'm not usually doing a live video of this. And for like folks who don't know, content blocks used to be called snippets, but they had the same name as another tool, so they changed the name to content blocks, which was helpful. But I'm getting better about not calling them content blocks, honestly. But I'm getting better at not calling them snippets and calling them content blocks. But I do still do it occasionally. So, oh, there we go. So this first one here is the name of the field. You could put that in like apostrophes to do like a static value, but we want this to be actually tied to this field. And what we're going to do here is going to concatenate, because our content block is going to be in a library of libraries, essentially. So the content block itself is going to have this as a basically just like a label or like a de facto sorting or organization layer. And then form user, just because, again, that's how we're associating our staff member who did the travel with this particular event. So we're just going to copy that again. And this is just going to be static content. And then we're going to user full name. And when we create our content block, the name of the particular content block will just be this prefix for everybody, and then you'll just make one for like David Dysart, David Dysart, whoever your staff are. So again, it is very much beholden to you to make sure that content is updated, and you can do some additional filters, but like, I don't know, every like additional like check also can backfire with you. So we're just going to do that. So that's just going to concatenate whoever the form user is with this kind of labeling structure from the content block. But we can just do org contact name, email, what more do we actually really need? I didn't do title. Yeah, I don't think we really need to do much on the actual email build of this, especially since I think we've gone through about 40 minutes of our hopefully less than 1 hour training, and the next step is definitely the most complicated build. So yeah, I think we're fine here. So this essentially, though, will give you the ability to, yeah, that's fine, we'll put this in here. Hi. This just gives you the ability to have like a really customized, like a nice personal touch on these emails. And then whatever your kind of standard boilerplate is, here's the view book. And one thing I do want to do is, that's another good Gilded Build, I think, is piping in like, oh, you could do a thing like, oh, our admit rate is, say, 10%. Our admit rate from your school is 25%, or whatever it is, that there's these interesting nuances we can pull with independent subqueries, or if you're just like writing these, you can. And like, if that is like a really good point, or like we admitted 3 students from your school last year, but only show that kind of content to folks who that's relevant for. It's like an impressive or a feather in the cap for that school. Or all 4 of your admitted students deposited last year. And then you could set up some rules or some content blocks around that. I think that's I think that's a whole separate Gilded Build. So I'm going to stop talking about that now and make sure we have some time for our next piece here.
Remain. Rare keeps working after the flame.